So Jonathan Gannon is going to need a lot of people to apologize to him because when it got announced that he was the next hire for the Arizona Cardinals, many people had their discussions. Many people. For starters, the first one was, how can you hire the coach from the losing team whose defense allowed Patrick Mahomes to score late, thus costing you a Lombardi trophy in Philadelphia? So that was number one. The other thing was is that he had told everybody in Philly he wasn't planning on going anywhere, so he's a liar. Well, jobs come available, money talks, and naturally, when you get to be in a position of power, that kind of changes the narrative entirely. And that's exactly what happened with Jonathan Gannon. Was not offered the Houston Texans job, was not a runner for the Carolina Panthers job, but Arizona came calling and said, hey, we really like your stuff. Would you like to come and take over for our franchise? We have a quarterback that may or may not play. We have a game plan to be terrible this year, but at least maybe you can show us why you belong. And then comes all the scrutiny and conversations about his rapport and his belittling and how his inability to be a hype man, be the guy that people would follow into the locker room and into battle. Rah, rah, rah. He can't talk like this. He's got to be, talk like this. And Michael, I'm very timid. I'm a little nervous here. I got that fire in my gut. You got that fire in your gut. You got that fire? Did you take the bus? You got that? Oh, God, the clips that just came everywhere and anywhere on the air. I figured at this point we would have learned from the Dan Campbells and Nick Siriannis of the world that winning the press conference is not the biggest thing. In fact, I would say it's probably the least important thing in terms of being a great head coach, because I have seen plenty of coaches win the press conference, come into a building, shake hands, kiss babies, look into the camera and say, we are going to change the culture. We are going to be different. And the only difference is that you're there for one season. You end up being a complete and total dumpster fire, and the franchise is set back instead of forward with what they have with you as your head coach. Dan Campbell said on live television on national air, we're going to get up and take a bite out of your kneecap in the process. That was Dan Campbell when he was hired, and people ridiculed him for months. Macho Meathead Randy Savage 2.0 is going to fizzle out. This guy got a job before Eric Bieniemy. This guy got a job before Todd Bowles, before Byron Leftwich. He got a job before all those guys. This guy. That guy got his 10th win in his last 13 games. He right now has one of the top 5 scoring offenses in the NFL, and he has the team leading the NFC North, doing a pretty damn good job. Nick Sirianni fumbled through words at his press conference opener with the Philadelphia Eagles. Seemed like he was anxious as all hell and probably needed to get a Xanax or an Adderall to keep him going either nice, cool, calm, and collective or moving and grooving. First year takes his team to the playoffs. Second year wins an NFC title. Goes to the Super Bowl and is a play or two away from actually winning the whole damn thing. You don't win or lose your status as a head coach in a press conference. You don't win or lose your status of being good at your job because if you don't do well in front of a microphone. You do it with on-field play. You do it with game planning. You do it with how you construct a roster and how you take the punches that are given to you. That's how you prove you're a damn good coach. And Jonathan Gannon so far has looked pretty damn good as the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. But they're 1-2, Cole. They are 1-2, ladies and gentlemen. With a roster that they trade away almost all of their talent, they have one significant player that is actually really promising and would be a factor on most teams as a starter. That's Marquise Brown. They're very young. They're still finding their way through the growing pains of a new defensive concept, a new offensive personnel. They have Joshua Dobbs as their starting quarterback, and they have been more competitive than plenty of teams in the NFL. They have been more competitive than the Denver Broncos. They have been more competitive than the Las Vegas Raiders. They have been more competitive than the Chicago Bears. They have been more competitive than I would say about 4 or 5 other teams through the first 3 weeks. Game 1, leading going into the final frame against the Washington Commanders. And will they blow that game? Washington is a team that can probably get to 8-9 wins. That's how good they are, or how good they should be. Last week, they're leading by 20 points over the New York Giants, a Giants team that paid over $100 million for a quarterback, that paid for a running back to be the focal point of their offense, that last season made the playoffs and invested heavily on their defense, leading by 20 points. Well, they found a way to screw that up too. And then they face off against the hopeful defending NFC East can't miss generational version of the Dallas Cowboys. And they once again do what they have done throughout the first half of games, start off really strong out of the gate, and instead of flambeing in the second half, they played through and they get the 28-16 win. They are not ranked in the bottom 5 of any category in the NFL. They don't rank bottom 5 in total offense. They don't rank bottom 5 in scoring. They don't rank bottom 5 in third down conversions. They don't rank bottom 5 in rushing. Defensively, they're great on third down. They've done a good job of mitigating flaws in the passing attack or the pass defense. They played well. Currently, here are the teams that are giving up more points than the Arizona Cardinals defensively. Denver Broncos, Chicago Bears, New York Giants, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Chargers, Washington Commanders, Minnesota Vikings, Carolina Panthers, Las Vegas Raiders, Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Philadelphia Eagles, Miami Dolphins, Indianapolis Colts, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Tennessee Titans. All giving up more points than the team that everyone expected Jonathan Gannon to take to the last place and potentially a winless season. And you want to tell me that the guy can't coach because what? He doesn't have the fire. He doesn't have the persona of what we see from a Sean Payton. Sean Payton's 0-3 because if he doesn't have the grit and determination or the offensive game plan of a Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell's 0-3. Jonathan Gannon's not. Jonathan Gannon's not 0-3 at all. Tell me why you believe for any instant that a guy can't coach because if he can't talk into a microphone. Some people just aren't good at that. Some people are really good at scheming up plays and being the name behind the, being the guy behind the booth. I'll tell you right now, in broadcasting, plain and simple. Do you know how easy of a job it is for the broadcaster to just go ahead and say words when he has an excellent supporting staff around him? Do you know how challenging it is to be a producer, a director, work the cameras, build the graphics? It is a daily grind, people. And this, because if you can talk into a microphone, does not mean you are excellent at your job. That doesn't mean you can do all the editing. That doesn't mean you can do all the cut-ups. That doesn't mean that you can direct. Doesn't mean any of that. Jonathan Gannon can do all the good stuff behind the scenes. And if he fumbles through words at a microphone, so be it. This is a team that's playing with fire. This is a team that's playing with passion. This is a team that is certainly not trying to be the worst in the NFL. And they've at least looked competent through the first 3 weeks of the season. They may end up picking number 1. They very well could. But it won't be because of Jonathan Gannon. So far, he's probably the only reason why this team has not started off 0-3 and looked horrendous through the start of a brand new 2023 NFL season. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.